very positive dimensions of e-governance which attract all of us to it, but also the risks, the vulnerabilities, which are very real. To give you an example, in my country, Canada, moderately advanced country, the government payroll system was paralyzed for 6 months by 1 or 2 glitches. Only one or deprive many government employees of pay for over 3 months. So that gives an idea of the risks before we get too enthusiastic thinking there are only benefits. But the benefits are very real, and for citizens throughout the world, they provide very often very high quality program. We want to hear from the ministers, but I do want to conclude by thanking my colleague Luis Barbosa, who has taken over from Thomas in directing the e-governance program of UNU. Thank you all very much for your attention.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your thoughts addressing both the pros and the cons ICEGOV has been of technology. And ladies and gentlemen, now looking more into the role of UNESCO in ICEGOV, I would like to request and invite Mr. Ayoyogi Shigeru, the UNESCO Director and Representative here in India, Bhutan.
Government of India, Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, Honorable Minister of Presidency and Administrative Modernization, the Government of Portugal, Madame Maria Manuel
Prasad Mishra, Sunita Singh. No? No, they have to be here because their presentation is going to be starting. Then this another paper, ICT-based border security framework. Sanjeev Kumar Katara, is he here? Avinash Pokhriyal? No. Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, namaste. I want to start off the first track by describing a little bit about how we're going to arrange it. We've got 5 papers. We're going to be able to give 10 minutes to each presenter, after which we're going to have 5 minutes of discussion. I would like this to be very interactive. I'm hoping that you're all going to be getting involved in the topic of the day, and that you are able to share, not only with the discussant, but also with each other, the experiences that we have in order to get the maximum amount of information interchange within this group. Now, we're talking about digitization, which is an extremely big topic, and to my mind, it's one of these things where it's turtles all the way down, because as we digitize things, we get digital information about the digitization process, and then we analyze and we get more digital information about the digital information that we've got. So it's extremely recursive. And that means that we've got lots of different sorts of presentation that cover these different areas and these different aspects of it. I would also like to point out that there's some organization to these tracks that we have of the papers today, and that digitization follows nicely into the transformation and the engagement and the contextualization tracks. So although it's very difficult for us to spread ourselves across all of the tracks today, I would encourage you to try and take a look at how the themes are developed across the different tracks of today's work in order to see how we can go from a non-digital through to a digitized way of working within an e-governance scenario, and how that then flows through the transformation of processes, the engagement with society, and how that changes the contextual nature of information within the society that we are living in. So I would like to invite AJ Dutta to give the first paper, which is to do with census web service architecture for e-governance applications. Could you please give him a hand?
Very good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Ajay Datta. I am Senior Research Fellow at Department of Computer Science Application, Punjab University, Chandigarh. The title of my paper is Census Web Service Architecture for E-Governance Application. This work jointly done by Dr. M. Shamla Devi and Dr. Manish Arora. Under Census Web Service Architecture for E-Governance Application, I have covered introduction, review of literature, need of census data sharing, proposed system, application area of census web service, implementation, conclusion, etc. E-governance. First, introduction about e-governance refers to the delivery of government information and services via the information and communication technology to various stakeholders like citizen, government, and other business. Under these various benefits of e-governance, transparency, speed, accountability, increase government and citizen interaction. We can see current Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar-based link, Aadhaar, passport linking with Aadhaar, and the various types of successful projects currently running in India. Now come to the census. Census is a citizen social economic data collection process for the preparation of national population register. And e-census is a web-based application which allow enumerator to enter the citizen data via the ICT. Various objectives of e-census: improvement of data quality, data release in short time, economic census with low cost. Now I come to the service-oriented architecture. Service-oriented architecture is an architecture which allow two heterogeneous applications can interact with using the protocols. For this paper, I have reviewed various journals related to census, e-governance, application, and service-oriented architecture. Bazri have proposed an online integration system for Nigeria to eliminate the inaccuracy resulting from manual methods. Patitel Kulkarni proposed a service-oriented digital government infrastructure focused on efficiently providing customized UIDAI database integration with passport services. Now I come to the need of and the discussion of this review. At present in India, there is no platform independent census information sharing system which can interact with another e-governance application. Census database can provide all the information of citizen which is required by government departments. Currently, decentralization of citizen information is a major issue. There is a need for basic information of resident for purpose of planning, development, and improvement in services. My last paper title is Unique Identification Number Based Online Census System under E-Governance Initiative. In this paper, I have proposed enumerator will enter the citizen data by using the online system. This census system will interlink with UIDAI database. Just enter the citizen 12-digit Aadhaar number, and the 9 fields of citizen will automatically collect from the UID database, and the 74 parameters of census database stored with the primary key of UID number. Now I come to the need of census data sharing. At present scenario, you can see if any candidate want to take social economic benefits from government organization, then go to the various departments like rural area department for verification. He is belong to rural area. He is belong to specific category like SC, ST category. For widow, go to the CSC center for taking the certificate of widow. And the various, if you want to take any scheme benefit, that go to the various different department. So it is a very time-consuming process. We are talking about the digital India. In this digital India, we can use the census database for this system. I have proposed online census-based system, web sharing system for another e-governance application. If you want to take any government scheme, just go to the service window and talk about your UID number. Just you enter the UID number, go to the census database and collect the another parameters like caste verification, rural area verification, date of birth, and many more verification can be done by census database. It is very time-saving process. Now come to the proposed architecture of this census web service. Communication between two heterogeneous platforms over a network is possible through web service. Basically, two types of web service. One is the SOAP, second is the RESTful web service. SOAP is used for sending and transforming the large amount of data. This web service is used for banking service. So I have used for this system SOAP-based web service. Under these two type of stakeholder, one is a census database, another is another government department. In this system, various protocols are used like HTTP, XML, SOAP, USSD, and WSDL. In this, you can see web service publish the service on UDDI registry, and the service consumer find this service, bind, and last invoke the citizen data. Now come to the detailed design. This detailed design service window show the service window may be a online portal or maybe a CSC center. In this, just enter the UID number. This UID number via the internet go to the census database and fetching the citizen information to the service window. These are the various applications area like caste verification, rural area verification, institution admission time. We can use this UID number for fetching all the citizen information. These are the tools used for this implementation. Like Microsoft Studio Core, this is the open source C#, SQL Server Express for database, JavaScript for validation, IIS, localhost server, Windows 8 Visual, and any browser for communication. Now the implementation. Under implementation, you can see this code is in XML format, extendable markable language. This code is written on the side of service consumer window. And after this code is written on the service provider, like as a census department. Just send the UID number and the corresponding name, gender, date of birth, mobile name, information come from the census database. Now come to the conclusion. The proposed architecture for sharing citizen information using web service is useful for both government and citizen. It can become as a minimum government and maximum governance. It will provide the various benefits like save time, better usability of census data, improve accuracy, reduce cost, increase security. Each government department assessing citizen information using web service architecture can have uniform and scalable information. The proposed three-layer architecture is reliable, flexible, and secure. Scope for future work. In future scope, census web service can be integrated with various governments like education and employment exchange. The benefits of this linking is need-based opening new educational institutions like skill development center also. Creating funds on the basis of data analysis. Direct communication with job seeker. It can provide an easy and single point access for delivering information about welfare schemes to eligible beneficiary in quick time. These are the reference. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Datta. Now, can I invite questions from the floor, please? Sir, at the back.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So don't you have an architecture which will work in offline mode also?
This service can be only for online.
No, but don't you think you should accommodate the offline mode architecture also? Because there are solutions available. Just want to check with you.
You're talking about online or offline?
The same architecture can be designed that it should work in offline mode also. Because just think of a situation, you are doing an enrollment in a village and there is no network. Then the whole day it will be switched off, correct?
At present, government of India is using the broadband system for every village connected with CSC, every CSC connected with internet. So this system is usable for every villages because internet is available at every village.
I don't want to contradict you, but basically the reality is different because I'm also coming from State Transport Department. There also we are providing e-governance, but internet is not continuously available. So this solution is good, but it will be more effective if we can give an offline mode architecture. That's my thought.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, please. Could you just wait for the microphone?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, thank you for your talk. I was just wondering, at what stage are you at? Have you prototyped the system? What about issues of scalability, etc.?
Please repeat question.
Have you prototyped the system? And have you faced issues regarding scalability of the system?
At present, this time system is not available. This type of related system is available, like UIDAI database interlinked with passport, UIDAI database linked with Jan Dhan Yojana. So I propose this type of another system, UIDAI database linked with census web system, and this system will provide this citizen data to another e-government services. When we talk about the another e-government services, there is a heterogeneous system, like some system developed in Java language, some system developed in PHP language. So the heterogeneous is the issue.
So currently you have proposed the architecture, but you haven't gone into any prototyping?
I have proposed architecture.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I have proposed architecture, census web service architecture.
Hello. What is the security perspective of this particular architecture?
In this system, first of all, SOAP is a secure system. SOAP web service is used for the banking data sharing system. So I have used SOAP, not used RESTful web service. SOAP is secure. Only those government organization can use these services which we can provide the access. So this type of solution I have already implemented in this system, and I'm working on this system. Just for this system is related to data sharing. For securing, those who provide this access, who only they can use this web service.
The API which you're going to create, is it going to be available for everybody to use or only for government entities?
So please speak loudly.
The API that you're creating, is it going to be available for everybody to use or only for government entities?
API?
Yeah, the API is the SOAP and REST API which you're creating.
Yes. API is basically for RESTful web service.
Yes,
API
are you going to make them
RESTful
publicly
web
available
service.
is my
Yes.
question.
RESTful API used for only for sending some small amount of data. But here data is very large, 74 characteristics. So I have a review about the various banking architecture is already developed in SOAP-based web service. So I have used SOAP because it is secure and...
That's all fine, and that's not my question. My question is are the API reference going to be publicly available for people to use? And are you going to make a documentation for the reference available for people to use?
This type of API is not available.
Then I don't understand. Census data is public data, right?
Yes.
Then why isn't it available for everybody to use?
What?
So what he's asking is whether you'll be making these APIs as publicly available or not. Am I right?
Just I have proposed this web service for the government process so that another government process easily use this service. This is like as a solution.
Maybe I can try to answer. Basically, what you're asking that when these web services are available, whether any other service providers can access it, correct? See, typically there is a very secure data, census data. What he has done, he has provided us a different perspective of, solution architecture for bringing census into the UIDI. But whether it will be available or not, it depends on the government policies. Like for example, I can take an example since the domain I'm coming from, like transport. So this whole transport data is, secured by NIC. They provide web services to, suppose you want to know your vehicle details. You can get it, but after a limited number. Correct? But you need to take permission. Correct? Same thing may be applicable, may not be applicable, but it's a government-owned data, so it's a government decision. I don't think he can answer this question. That's my thought.
The architecture itself often depends upon government policy. Some parts will be public, some will be private, right? So, for instance, aggregate data, census data, is publicly available right now in the form of PDFs. It would be nicer to have it available in the form of an API so that people can actually...
Correct. Your thought process is absolutely right, but I don't think he can answer because it's a government thought process.
Right.
How much they can make public, how much they can private, that's what.
Good morning. I'm Vipin Goyal from SBI, and the Transport Department Delhi, they want a facility to get the intermediate deposit at the branches. Will your service can be covered that also?
Yes, sir. It is like a citizen repository.
Right. Can we make this the last question, please?
No, the Transport Department website will generate a challan. And we will make a facility to provide them a facility to get it deposited at any of the branches in Delhi or across the country. And their desire is that they should get an immediate updation. Will there be any web service for them? We can suggest them.
So we are just here provided the web service. It may be used for another department, their choice. But I have proposed this type of service for elimination of time.
No, that is okay. The system is that our CBS should be linked with your API services. Is it possible or not?
It is possible, sir.
So please share your contact detail with me and I'll speak to you.
Okay.
Because they are a big hurry because GNCT department has already been onboarded for online services by our bank. And day before yesterday there was a mega launch by the Chief Minister of Delhi. So we shall be thankful if you provide us your contact detail and we will discuss with you.
Okay, I will.
Perhaps we may be having a meeting in the afternoon with the NIC people.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to move on because we don't have very much time. So could we thank AJ Dutta for his presentation, please?
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
The next presentation in this track comes from Swapnil Srivastava and Supriya Pal. Swapnil is going to be talking about a big data analytics framework for enterprise service ecosystems in an e-government scenario.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Wansley. And I'm Swapnil Srivastava, and I'll try to present my paper as much as I can in the next 10 minutes. The title suggests it's a big data analytics framework. In this paper, we have proposed a big data analytics framework for enterprise service ecosystems in e-governance scenario. So to start with, what is enterprise service ecosystems? In the recent times, we have seen a fundamental shift from enterprise applications to enterprise service ecosystems. Now, these ecosystems, enterprise service ecosystems, they are developed by modularizing and bundling of business rules and functionalities in the form of services. These services, they are loosely coupled, heterogeneous, and distributed enterprise components, which kind of orchestrate amongst themselves in a seamless manner. So what basically happens here is these enterprise components, they communicate with each other by message exchange, and because they communicate in a same language, they follow the standard protocols, and so we can combine these services to come up with more complex services, and that is what we have represented here pictorially. Now, these enterprise ecosystem components, they they registered the event data, and these event data are related to the activities performed by these enterprise ecosystem components. Now, what comprises an event data? Here is an example. So, an event data, there will be a case. Now, case is what we are handling. What is it that we are handling? Activity is performed on the case. Now, timestamp is the occurrence of the event, and there are other related information which are there. So each enterprise ecosystem component, they perform a meaningful activity, and they register the corresponding events. Now, if we analyze these, the data, the event data in the enterprise components can be analyzed in isolation, but this siloed approach, it will not be usable in an ecosystem environment, because the kind of information we are looking at is how the orchestration between these components, the orchestration between these components, how does it affect the overall performance of the ecosystem? So we are concerned with a comprehensive view. And this is the objective behind the proposed framework. So what the objective is to come up with a novel big data analytics architecture based on the event data coming from these enterprise ecosystem components. And this framework is based on the bottom-up approach. So here we have the event data. And so from these event data, the local structure is created. And these local structures proliferate and are converted into a global structure. Okay. So this is done so as to get a comprehensive view of the ecosystem. Now, how it is done? It has been observed that the actors, that is the actors in the ecosystem components, the ones which kind of initiates or executes the events, they have a relationship with the events. So these relationships are used to diffuse the data from the event data and aggregate it into a local structure. And then this local structure is diffused into a global structure. So what basically we are doing here is we are capturing the relationships in the form of graph structures, and the event data provides the temporal overlay. So this framework would help in performing both to get the eventual response as process discovery, and it can also be used for real-time response like detection of bottleneck or any kind of malicious behavior. Okay. So this is the proposed framework where we have, there is an ETL process using which the event data is extracted, transformed, and loaded into the data repository or the complex event processing. Now, data repository maintains the history, which comprises of kind of the service rules. It comprises of the profiles and the event data. Complex event processing will make use of this history on the current data to come up with some kind of an alert. Now, the data from these data repository or complex event processing is the input for mining and analysis module. Service rules are the business rules which are captured. Profiling is where we store the user profile, or a kind of what we talked about, the graph structure, which provides a history to the complex event processing. Process mining is used for to model and kind of model and analyze the sequence of user requests, service requests made by the user. Graph analytics is the module which would kind of build this top-down model, bottom-up model, like from aggregate the local structure into the global structure. Real-time analytics, the data from complex event processing would be fed into the real-time analytics, reporting, dashboard, and admin. Now, coming to we talked about the e-governance scenario. So what we, going by the definition, Aadhaar authentication ecosystem and e-governance service exchange, they have recently emerged as enterprise service ecosystems in national e-governance scenario. So we are going to take Aadhaar authentication ecosystem as a case study. We all are aware what is so Aadhaar authentication, it is for online authentication where we get yes or no when an Aadhaar holder's personal identity data is submitted to the CIDR. There are different components, key components which are there like AUA, ASA, CIDR, AUSP. And here to demonstrate the functionality of this proposed framework, we are going to take the case study of field testing and device certification, which is an activity which was performed. So what was done is, here is the Aadhaar holder will go to the gatekeeper for BFD, that is best finger detection, and then he would go to the authentication stations where his biometric credentials would be sent for authentication from various devices. And once it is done, then he would move out of the authentication center. So the real, 2 minutes, yeah. So the real-time responses here, now we face a lot of issues here, and so like service rule violation, as we said, the user should have got authenticated at each and every devices. So this is the defined process, and by process confirmation checking, one can find the followed process, and you can find the what has been the service rule violation. At the same time, by using the graph structure, one can find the bottleneck detection. That is, if the performance has gone down, making use of event data, one can find out where the issue has been. Okay? And so here in this case, the issue has been at the ASA level. Now the challenges. So going from theory to practice, the challenges here is to come up with the bottom-up approach, because we are talking about the distributed systems. So how do we, come up with the local structure and merge it and proliferate and convert it into the system-level structure is the challenge we are currently working on, because once we do it, we do the successful implementation of the framework, and also the unauthorized disclosure of the sensitive information, because we are going to keep the profile. The applications here is, it can be used for real-time analytics like service rule violation, bottleneck detection, malicious activity, and also offline analysis. It is, we believe that this framework can be used for process re-engineering. It can also be used for monitoring of integrated and interoperable systems. So we feel it is in line with the objective of eKranti. So here, done with the presentation, and questions and inputs, please.
Could I ask a question to start off with, please? There's a lot of discussion about whether or not one uses a simplified graph model on something like Neo4j database, or uses RDF and the complexities of Sparkle. Do you have any view about the balance between a simple graph approach versus the more complex reasoning that you can get with RDF and Sparkle for this sort of work?
Right. This source of work, we will have to come up with a totally different approach. RDF, if I understand, there are some 3 dimensions model that you store in RDF. Here, it's like you have the data distributed in silos, and so it is kind of building from the subgraph, you're building a graph. That is kind of the work. So it's a novel thing that we will be doing. I'm aware of Google Progel and Giraffe, which are graph processing tools, where the large graph is distributed into small graphs. Here we need to do the reverse. Take the small graphs and come up with a comprehensive view.
Thank you very much. Questions, please? No? Okay. Carlos?
Excuse me. Could you please provide more details on the graph analytics? Could you provide more information on the graph analytics aspect of your complex event processing framework? I am asking that if you could provide I'm asking if you could provide more information on the graph analytics aspect of the CP framework, okay? So what exactly do you do in your graph analytics, aspect of your framework, yes? More details on that. Provide more details on the graph analytics aspect of your framework, yeah.
The graph analytics aspect here is because we need to capture the relationships. Why do we need graph here is because we need to capture the relationships. So basically, we have the event data stored in the enterprise components. These event data also have relationships. Like actors have relationship with the events. Actors would perform the events. So, or the actors would perform the activity, or the activities performed on the actors. So these relationships we will use in the event data to come up with a kind of a graph structure. Say if we take the example of Aadhaar, so you have a Aadhaar holder, then which service request he has made for. So these local structures would be built. Now we need to, so it is here we will be considering basically it is going to be more of a time series graph, because we are also talking about event data, which has a timestamp. So the data here would be time series graph is what we would be looking at.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. And can we thank the speaker for her nice presentation? Right. I will now hand over the chair to my colleague Sel Maluli from Université Laval.
Thank you, Peter. So our next presentation is the City MIS, VIS, a tool for the visual analysis and exploration of citizen requests and complaints. And my colleague Carlos will make the presentation.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Well, this presentation concerns joint work we have been developing in my university along with a small company concerned with, called Mismatica Management, concerned with city management. And the presentation is about a tool that was developed in my university along with this company. And basically, I'm going to describe the main elements of this tool and an improvement that has been developed in the last months, and that's why the suffix "vis" was analyzed, because it is related to including visualization of different features. So this is basically the summary of the talk. And the main motivation behind this CityMIS application is the idea of having a mobile application also accessible on the web, in order to process citizen requests and complaints, which provide a valuable source for the municipalities in different cities in Argentina and in Latin America. Most platforms nowadays only provide a partial solution to the problem of solving requests by citizens, since this involves a large amount of data. And so intelligent analysis of information is needed in order to provide reasonable solutions for those requests. So the CityMIS community can be more or less, this is, sorry for the Spanish in the drawing, but it can be assessed in terms of different types of services that are provided or requested by citizens. And these citizen requests are to be solved by the municipality at some stage. So the basic idea is that this CityMIS community management system, developed by Mismatica Management, this company I was mentioning, starts with the citizen making some kind of request, and the request itself is derived into different areas in the municipality until a solution is given. And so from the very system, a feedback is provided so that in the mobile application that the citizen has available, receives a feedback message saying, for example, that the problem was solved, that some situation that was requested could be successfully solved by the municipality, or which is the time needed to solve that problem. So what we have in this CityMIS community system is an ecosystem of different applications. The focus in all cases is the citizen himself, and the communication and the service operations provided. So the main goal that we have in mind is a transformation towards networked cities, so that the citizens can participate and can interact with each other, and we can get a better integration among citizens, government officials, public agents, and so on. So in the long term, what we are going to achieve is a digital global solution of all these problems. We have, through CityMIS, we have the possibility of distinguishing different categories which are typical in city management. For example, traffic signals, public lighting system, lost pets, and that kind of stuff. And for each category, there are different issues. For example, concerning traffic signals, we can complain about some traffic signal not working properly, or the timing of the traffic signal being not the proper one, etc. So the idea is that using geolocalization features in this mobile application, the user can provide a complaint, and the complaint can be solved by the municipality. And currently, this platform is being used by many municipalities in Argentina, Bolivia, Mexico, Venezuela, Chile, and there are almost 100 municipalities using the application with different citizens. So, as I said before, we have different attributes associated with the reports provided by the citizens. And so from each report, we get the report date, the type of service, type of problem, the location of the problem, users' comments. The user is allowed also to, to provide a photo of the situation, and also a description of the possible solution of the problem. So, as I said before, we made some experiments with this company. So we made a kind of a shared contract, my university with this small company, in order to improve the original CityMIS application, to enhance it, and to provide visualization features. And that's why we developed CityMIS Vis, which is the new name of the application. We introduced three main mechanisms to explore and analyze the data collected from citizens, which are heat maps, clusters, and statistics. So the heat maps basically allow to depict the intensity of requests that the municipality gets to analyze and the different complaints according to the geolocation, so the geographical points. The colors are, different colors are used to represent which areas have a few complaints, a medium number of complaints, or a large number of complaints. And we also have facilities to zoom in and out according to some particular area. So we can visualize different reports, and we can also detect how many complaints are to be detected in every area. And on the other hand, we provide clusters which allow to group the different requests and complaints. We use a particular clustering algorithm, DB-scan, and we allow also to analyze different granularity levels. So we can, by clicking with the mouse on the application, or using our finger on the mobile phone, we can detect, we can zoom in some area of the city and detect how many users are making complaints and which complaints are similar to the complaints that we ourselves are doing to the municipality. So we can detect subclusters of complaints. So, and if needed, the user can also inspect an individual report, clicking the marker associated with the report. So, and we get additional information about, well, the time of the date in which the complaint was made, what kind of solution was offered, etc. On the other hand, we have also the ability to visualize statistics in terms of what is called as sunbursts. Sunbursts are tree-like representation with a radial layout, which allow us to detect which are the proportions of, for example, different services that for which complaints are made. And by clicking on some part of that sunburst, we can get a zoom in and get also a different proportion of a particular service. So, for example, in this example, we have all services marked on the right side of the screen, and if we click on public lighting system, alumbrado público in Spanish, we get a new sunburst explaining the different proportions of every kind of complaint concerning the public lighting system. Okay? So, and associated with these sunbursts, we also get statistics. So the different proportion with the percentage of complaints associated with each particular case. So to conclude, we can say that this City Biz application, which is an enhancement on the original application developed by Mismatica Management, but this company supports the analysis of complaints and reports through developed methods which allow clustering and visualization techniques. We have heat maps for representing the intensity of reports. We have density-based and hierarchical clustering to visualize grouping of reports. And we have these sunbursts which allow us to have navigable representation of statistics obtained from the collected data. So we can also easily identify, if we look from the municipality side, which are the most affected areas which require solutions. We can define strategies which are to be devised timely and proactively according to the needs of the community. And we can also identify cause-effect relationships and produce surveys according to the different information provided by the citizens. As a benefit, in a general setting, we can say that we can make more efficient the internal organization of the municipality, leading to smarter decisions and better investments. In the long term, it also helps to improve the political communication and to develop a better understanding between citizens and government. As future work, we plan to include a temporal dimension to clustering algorithm, and we want also to exploit the citizen satisfaction. So this is also something that we want to provide in future versions of this mobile application, that the citizen can say to what extent his request or her request was satisfied. And we are currently conducting different experiment and user studies as part of different PhD students which are carrying out PhD in computer science in my university. And that's all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlos, for the presentation. So now we can go to questions on the floor. We have a question over here.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Thanks for your presentation, excellent work. I just have one question. It seems that your project goes in the direction of participation and empowerment. But do you have any data about the impact on the governmental institutions regarding this project? What I mean is, if they are taking into consideration what the citizens are claiming as problems, if they are listening to them or are mainly using this application for gathering data. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a good question. Actually, we have several dialogues with government officials, and it is sad to some extent to say that many of them are not interested in having smart solutions, but rather having just solutions to the time. I mean, for the time being, just not to get any more complaints. So it is very difficult for politicians to understand the full impact of the dialogue citizen-government. So as you say, what they see in many cases is just a smart way of getting to know, of gathering data. And we are trying, and we are having more and more dialogue with different officials at different levels in order to strengthen open government initiatives. And in that respect, my city is doing a very good work, I think.
Thank you, Carlos. Another question? Yeah.
So, Carlos, thank you. I have two questions. The first is if what you've developed, the visualization layer can be used by other platforms like Fix My Street or Fix Your Street, which does exactly what the base platform here does. So maybe you expose some APIs, and then those platforms are able to have the different visualizations that you provide. That's the first question. The second question is if you are, what you think about linking the data that you have on the platform with other open data that is available so that you can have more robust analysis, similar to the question he has asked in terms of impact. For instance, people report a lot about some potholes or issues in some areas, and yet the spending on that, on that particular area is actually, high. So, so you have a lot of complementary information on other sources, and they are publicly available. Are you thinking about linking them up and providing some, more deeper analysis, which tends towards impact now rather than just analyzing the content there?
Okay.
So
I didn't understand exactly what the first question.
So the first question is about if you are able to provide APIs so that you can use the same solution for similar platforms, because there are many platforms that are like this, like Fix My Street, Fix Your Street.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are a lot of, crowdsourcing mapping.
I get the point. So we have, the experiment we have done so far is concerned with a single application which was developed by this company. And the company has, we had to sign a specific contract for not disclosing some of the algorithms that they use, and we are actually working with those algorithms. I think that there is a big problem with the added value of those complaints, because, for example, one of the problems we had with the government is that the government wanted to have that data open in order for all other enterprises or other companies to use them. But the company who developed the application, which developed it, does not want to disclose the data because the value is in the data. So if you know where are the complaints, what kind of complaints people are giving, well, that's part of the information that the company is collecting, and they don't want to give it as open data. So it's a difficult decision, and we are trying in that respect. We just are trying to contribute with new algorithms for this specific company. But we did not get into the idea of opening the data because we are not allowed to. So the other way around. Sorry.
So you use the open data available to enrich the analysis
of
data on the platform.
There is my municipality, for the case being, the municipality of Bahia Blanca in my city, they provide a lot of open data concerning different aspects of the city, of contracts and so on. But this particular kind of information, people can make complaints, but they are not geolocated. So you cannot identify, you can have complaints, but they are not structured in any way. They are just text-based. So this company is trying to provide a solution for something that the government is not doing at the time. So there is no use of the open data provided by the city in our case.
So thank you, Carlos, for this answer. So I would like to. No, we no longer have time. I'm sorry, because we are run out of time. But we can take time after the presentation, after the track, to discuss with Carlos. So thank you, Carlos, for presentation. So our next presentation is, I don't know if it's here, it's about web accessibility assessment of government web solutions, a case study in digital India. It's by Durga Prasad Misra. Thank you.
Good afternoon to my colleagues and my co-participants and the chair. See, this is a work that at NIC, National Informatics Center, we did for web accessibility of government websites. Those websites are key to government functioning. So how this exercise is happening and how this accessibility compliance is going to impact us, and what are the process that involved to do this compliance activity, that we made a study. So this is an experience study. So what is the Government of India's mainly the aim is? That is to provide information and services through web or mobile. So most of the web services and the information and services available doesn't follow the best practices to disseminate services. So that is why a set of guidelines were developed for the Indian government websites. So these websites, these guidelines are based on the UUU trilogy, that is usable, user-centric, and universally accessible. So this paper is about the basic issues and challenges in implementing the guidelines of Indian government websites in different websites of government. So this paper mainly highlights the compliance and non-compliance of the guidelines points. So what is the Indian guidelines for Government of India websites? There was no framework or standardization as such. So we have created a guidelines which create a customized and easily adaptable, yet internationally acclaimed guidelines. So this guidelines is an initial step towards achieving the compliant, secure, and matured Indian web space. So guideline for the Indian government websites developed to enable departments to enhance the quality online delivery of information and services, and to ensure high degree of consistency and uniformity across the content and its presentation and layout. So what are the key features of the guidelines? So there are altogether 115 checkpoints, and these checkpoints are in three categories. One is mandatory, few are advisory, and few are volunteer. So there are 9 key domains through which these 115 checkpoints are formed. And there is a compliance matrix also of these 115 mandatory checkpoints to make sure that you are compliant to these 115 points. So these are the key domains that these are 9 key domains that 115 checkpoints are covered. One is government identifier. So you must have an identifier by looking at which you will be able to know that this is a government website. And building confidence is 11 checkpoints. Scope of the content, if the content is primary, secondary, or tertiary content, the type of content, it has majority is 31 checkpoints. The quality of content is again 14 checkpoints, design 22, development 20, then website hosting, there are 7 checkpoints, and website promotion, there are 2, and website management, there are 3. Altogether 115 checkpoints are available. Yeah. So there is a certification scheme, that is website quality certification scheme, that is actually done by the standardization, testing, and quality certification, that is STQC of our Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. They provide the website quality certificate if you comply with those points. So the benefit is you are hardening your website from security threats, you are increasing the accessibility and usability, you are assuring the commitment of quality of service to the public, enhance the citizen, government and citizen relationship, reducing legal liability, because these days if the sites are not accessible, then you are getting into legal complications as well in India. So what are the key implementations that we have studied? We have compliant the www.nic.in website, MIT, the Ministry of Electronics and IT website, and open data platform, that is data.gov.in, and the mobile governance initiative, mgov.gov.in. So these are the 4 different, many websites were compliant, but these are the 4 websites we consider for this analysis. So STQC, they provide a set of reports after going through various scanning and tools and all those things. they come out with major, medium, and minor vulnerable issues with as compared to the guidelines. So what we see in the NIC website when it first got, there are 17 major and 4 medium and 2 minor. Similarly, MIT website had 10 major and 7 medium and 1 minor. OGD platform had 4 major, 1 medium and 1 minor, and Mobile Seva has the maximum 19 major issues and 2 medium and 2 minor. So across websites altogether, these are the different anomalies, and what are the common issues? The alt tag to non-text content is the common. The improper use of CSS files, validation issues in the CSS.